Hello, welcome to Tawlet El Sifra, dinner table, common ground. What I want to talk to you today about is this nonsense that's happening in our day. I don't want to say in our government, but it's in the world. It seems like when people are fighting over something, they should care about that something, and they want to protect it, and then we try to fight over it and try to save it. For example, I'm going to tell you these examples before I tell you the main thing that I want to talk to you about. When there's a lot of usually arguments and back and forth between parents because they're trying to protect the child for something, the one that cares for the child more is the one that refuses to cut the child. You know the background of this story, when the judge said, okay, if you want the child and you want the child, let's just split it evenly and cut it in half. And the mother at that time said, no, he can have him. And then that's when the judge said, you can take the child because you care about the child more than him. This is what I'm talking about, is the caring for that thing. Sometimes you make a lot of sacrifices. Always you make sacrifices for that. So when I first came to the US close to 50 years ago, TV was my friend. I did a lot of, watching TV, and anything from sitcom to game shows to soap operas, that kind of thing. But later, I started watching shows that actually discusses particular personalities, how people deal with different things. And Dr. Phil was one of the shows that I watched, and how he diagnoses the person and understands this person is this and that, because that's what he studied. This is what his PhD is in. And I've always been very, very interested in that. So one of the things that he always talk about when he gets guests in and they're having problems, he always tries to notice who is the one who's paying more attention to the thing they're fighting over. It's not about the money. When it's about the money, that's different. Both of them just want as much of it as possible. But when there are kids involved and the parents are talking about rubbish stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the kid, all that she wants to do is have her freedom and go out, and he did this and she did that and all kinds of things. But then they forget that when he's doing that to hurt her and she's doing that to hurt him, they're hurting the kids. And he always tries to bring that to their attention. And I always believe in that. Always feel like the person, the side that cares more about the things they're arguing for and fighting over, is the one that ends up compromising. And that's true of every argument we go through. One of the things that politicians try to do when they're trying to win an argument or win a side, they always want to go see where's the weak point in that other side and what is it that they care about more than anything else, and try to make them lose that if they end up with the argument. So that's where they use their strength. So coming from that perspective, I want to ask you, why are the people of the United States don't care about the United States? And I'm talking about both sides of the aisle, the Republicans and their allies and the people who follow them, and the Democrats and their allies and the people who follow them. This is ridiculous. It's like at the beginning, they started out fighting for the country, fighting for what's best for the country, and that just gone away. There is this thing right now where everybody hates, most everybody hates Trump, and because Trump said that, even if it is the whatever it is that he said, that the sky is blue, then it's wrong. All these people are going to go against him. This is what I don't understand. What gave us that? How did we dumb ourselves to that level? How did we get to the level where we are so dumb that our litmus test is whatever that other side picks? And this has been going on for a while. At the beginning, when this started happening, I was thinking, this is not going to last. How could all the Democrats believe that everything that comes out of President Obama is true, or the Republicans think that everything that comes out of Trump is true? It cannot be. Both presidents have put their stamps on this country. Both presidents have something they want to offer this country. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, you gotta accept the fact that when President Obama won and became the president, he had promises that he had made to the American people, and that's why he won. Okay, by the majority voted for him, and he delivered. At the end of those 8 years, he had given the side that wanted that, the people who wanted whatever he promised, the things that he promised them. So that thing there, you got to say that he was a successful president. People liked him. His demeanor, the way he talks, he loved his family. I am a big supporter of the people at higher ups. The role models of the world need to be very good family people. And he was absolutely one. He still is. And that's very good for a lot of people who admire him and want to model him as someone they want to live like him. Then we have President Trump. President Trump won. Nobody's denying that he didn't win. So he won. He is in that White House. But that doesn't mean that we're just going to throw rocks at whatever he says. Sometimes he's going to come out there and say something that you advocated for. Actually, the social media is full of that. The social media right now, if you turn it on, they'll show you how Obama said that illegals have to be deported, or Biden says that the welfare system is depleting our economy. A lot of these things are what he's doing, what he's actually going after and making it happen very harshly. Don't get me wrong. He's doing it in a very harsh way that I'm glad I'm not in his shoes, but I wouldn't do it that way. However, he's doing what he promised the people, just like Obama promised the people, and he delivered. So he's doing the same thing. Now, there's another aspect of the economy and how much debt we have. I remember a while ago, I heard Elon Musk, in my opinion, only sided with Trump because of the economy side. That's what he cares about. He knows that with any business or any person, when you don't have any income, or if you have an income, it all disappears by paying just the principal, not the principal, but the interest on the principal, then you're a losing person. You lose your business, you lose yourself, you become homeless, all of this. So the income has to exceed the expenses. That's just, there's not even a math in there. That's just simple fact. So when before the election, he came on and said that it's ridiculous what the United States have done to itself. And he wasn't saying that only Republicans or only Democrats doing it. He said that it's ridiculous that we have the amount of debt that we have, because we're reaching a point where we're only paying for the interest. Once you start paying only for the interest, all the money that you collect from the people, the taxes, you only end up paying for the interest. That means that the principal stays the same, okay? But then very few years after that, after that, it's like it's going to increase, so you're going to decline that. So you'll pay less than the interest. And what he said is that's not sustainable. Nobody can live like that. No person, no company, no people, no country can live like that. So the best thing to do is to cut the expenses, because the income, we know it. We know how many people live in the United States. We know how much tax rates they pay. So we know how much the income is. Let's pay less. Let's cut the cost. There are a lot of arguments against or for let's tax the rich, let's tax whatever. But the bottom line, this is the formula. You have to have more income than expense. And that's what he was talking about. As a matter of fact, when President Trump hired him to do this, he went after it the same way he did his own business, where he didn't care if he cuts it to 20% staffing instead of 100%. In whatever company he had. What he didn't do is that he didn't realize that this is a government entity and that's private entity. So when you cut deep into the government, you hurt you. It has a ripple effect. It's got a dominoes effect. So what you need to do is cut expenses, but on in not all at the same time, but phase it out. Anyway, there were some disagreements between him and President Trump. He left, but President Trump still is doing what the original idea of cutting costs and cutting expenses. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody should do it. As a matter of fact, that should be one of the commandments for anyone who comes to this country. Should be taught to do that. Should be mandated to do that. But because it's coming from that side, then everybody on the left are hating President Trump for that, hating for him doing that. I have some friends who are they are very, very smart Democrats. They're way up there. They're smarter than me. They have businesses. They have all kinds of things that I want to be. But because this idea is coming from Trump, let's turn on all the TV, social media, everything that tells us he's awful, he's doing it for a different reason, he's doing it because he wants to be rich, he's whatever. That kind of thing is ridiculous. You know what you're creating? You're creating a third world country by your mentality. After I went to Iraq in 2004, when they removed Saddam, okay, the country was in a vacuum. There were 30 years or more than that, actually, of nothing but dictatorship. Here comes the United States thinking, this is, common sense, democracy, votes, that's how it is. So they removed Saddam, there was a vacuum, and all these different facets of people came in, entered the arena, the government arena, and started telling people, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But the people, the Shiites voted for the Shiites, the Sunnis voted for the Sunnis, the very few voted for secular, and most of those people are from outside the country that had moved back in there. There's like this mentality of us not seeing what's happening, even though the Shiites promise things that I don't want to do, or the Sunnis promise something that I don't want to do, but I'm going to vote for them because God is not going to like me if I don't do that. They get that in your head. The same thing now. America, the American people. I cannot believe that the American people have the mentality of the Iraqis after removing Saddam. This is like going to primitive. This is what primitive. When you see your mom, your baby, you see your mom going, whatever your mom does is right. This is what Americans people are doing. They're doing everything, like no matter what the Democrats feed you, you're going to be voting Democrat. Whatever the Republican feed you, you're going to vote Republican. Wake up. Wake up and tell yourself, I've got a brain. I've got to use it. I am not going to say anything mean or anything bad about President Obama or President Trump. All I'm saying is the route that they're taking us on. Both of them, both of them took us there. I'm not bringing Biden in the equation because when Biden was the president, I didn't see anything worth watching on TV, on the news. That is, it was stable. It was peaceful. It was stable. It was just moving forward. There's nothing in there. No new stuff going on that I remember. But Obama had a lot of things that he moved forward, and Trump has a lot of things that he's moving forward with. Closing the borders. Obama actually closed it, not closed it, but he deported a lot of people. But also Obama came to do the healthcare, and he did it. Whether we like what he did or not, he did it. And Trump said, I'm going to close the borders, and he did it. Whether we like it or not, he did it. What I don't understand is why the people, why the American people have stopped using their brain. Look at the action of what this organization is doing. If you work for a company, you don't know the boss of the company, the owner of the company, whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. You don't know if he is someone who has affairs, or he has 100 kids or not. All of that you don't care about. All you care about is the business is moving forward, the business is doing well, and then you're getting your salary. Nobody's getting hit, and nobody is leaving. That's what we should do. This organization that's called the United States, we should trust that the majority of the people who voted for it, and the majority of the people are getting what they want, what they voted for. Me sitting here that I did not vote for either this one or whatever, and throwing rocks at whoever's sitting in there is doing nothing but destroying the baby. It shows me that we have forgotten about the baby. We have forgotten if the husband and wife, the Republican and Democrats, are fighting amongst each other, and I don't mean just the politicians. The politicians, that's their life. That's what they're supposed to do. This is their job. They're supposed to be arguing and letting us look at what they're saying and understand what they're saying, and then choosing a side. But us, the American people, we should not be doing that. Us, the American people, we should be assessing, I'll take 3 out of 10 items that Trump did, and 4 out of 6 items that Obama did. That's good enough for me. When I want to vote, I'm going to see what he recommends, because he's going to recommend someone that's going to follow his footstep, and I'm going to see what he recommends the same way. Or I see that person who's making the promises, which ones I believe more. That's how democracy works. I don't just go sit in my chair in my home behind my TV and say, let's see what the Democratic leadership tells me. If they say go vote for XYZ, I'm going to vote for that. I don't have to think about it. My friends tell me to vote for XYZ. That's all there is. As a matter of fact, during the Obama election, I was taking my son to one of these after-school care. I was after-school program, and I was sitting there in the waiting room, and there were discussions. People in there were talking about it because it was the day of the election. And this one young lady said that I haven't voted yet. Who should I vote for? My friends are telling me to vote for Obama. What do you guys think? And then so there were people who were saying this, and other people were saying that. And I'm just staring at this girl saying that it is almost 7 o'clock at night. The polls are going to close at 8 o'clock. And she is just taking opinions, and she thinks that it's just a matter of hitting a button. That's all there is to it. She does not have a brain. She does not care about the baby. She does not care because she's young. That's okay. I'll give her that. A lot of young people don't know. But right now, the young people are voicing their opinion in a very strong way because they have a better handle on social media than the older generation, and they're making their voices so strong and so pushy, and they're not actually understanding the subject. This is what I cannot understand. First of all, you're not understanding the subject. Second of all, pay attention to why these politicians are arguing. If these politicians are arguing about a rock in the street, whether they fill it or not, a hole in the street, whether they fill it or not, that's one thing. But these politicians are fighting about America. And if you care about America, you understand what their fight is. You know what the point that they're trying to make, and then you actually vote according to what you think, which one of these is the right answer. You don't just follow. You don't become one of these followers, brainless followers. You're Americans, and you have a brain and use it. Thank you again, and welcome to Tawlet El Sifra.